Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we've got Fanny in the house, and yes, it is Fanny, but it's a Belgian Fanny.
Yeah.
I feel even uncomfortable saying that, but she is. What's your title?
As what, like my job?
Yeah, your job.
I'm artist payments coordinator.
The artist payments coordinator. So that means if you're not behaving yourself, or you're going to give her a problem, then there may be a forfeit or two you have to pay. But before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow. It's nice to have you here today, Fanny.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was not expecting that.
So you're from Belgium.
I am.
What was life like in Belgium for you?
For me, it was slightly boring.
Really? You come from a small town girl?
No, I'm from Brussels.
Okay.
Grew up in Brussels.
Brussels not that big, is it? What's the population of Brussels?
Living 1 million, but every day the population doubles because of everyone coming to work to Brussels for the day.
Oh, okay.
Because Belgium is small and you can be in Brussels within an hour from everywhere in the country.
Okay. So what were you doing in Brussels?
I started my career in the music industry when I was in Brussels. And I first created a live agency. So I was like booking tours and gigs in Europe for artists. That was my first job.
You created that? Oh.
And I created my own company, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't playing around?
Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes when there's no job, you have to
create your own
and make sure that you're out there and people know what you're doing, and you have to kick the door every now and then. And
what drew you to the music industry apart from the fact you needed a job?
Oh, I always knew that I would work in the music industry. Like, music is my life, like specifically the live industry. I started going to gigs when I was 13 because there was no age restrictions in Belgium. And I was going to probably 2 or 3 gigs a week, which in Brussels is quite a lot because we don't have as many venues as London.
You were saying something before I interrupted you.
What was I saying? Oh, we both blank now.
This is going very
We're
well,
actually just passing my office now.
Okay.
This is Live Nation UK.
Do you play any instruments? That's what it is.
No, I used to be a singer.
Okay. You got any stuff out there? Your YouTube channel?
No. It was like when I was like 19, 20. So it was like a while ago. No, I used to sing a lot, but it was difficult to meet people that had the desire to make it something more than just playing in our bedrooms. And so I just stopped because I was just like, I will never find people that have the same passion.
Now, you speak French.
I do.
And Belgium have their own language as well?
No, it's French. We have Flemish.
Flemish.
So the north of Belgium speaks Flemish. The south speak French. There is a small German community on the border. And then Brussels, it's like a mix of like French and Flemish.
Your English is very good though.
Oh, thanks.
Very, very good. How long have you been here?
7 years now.
Okay. Did you live in Australia for some time? Was it just
Never.
your boyfriend's influence?
No, I mean, we've not been together for a while, so apparently I've always sounded Australian.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't know where it's coming from. Probably from working with loads of different people from loads of different places, and I probably just like created my own hybrid accent that sounds a bit Australian.
What was it like running your first music company?
Tough. Tough. You don't count your hours. You struggle with money. But my family has always been very supportive because they knew that it was what I wanted to do, and there was no way of trying to tell me and find a day job somewhere because it was not going to work. I mean, I've done it a few times, having like extra jobs to have some income, but they knew that one day it would work and I would be comfortable and would have a career that I want and love. So, but yeah, it was tough. There's still, unfortunately, some judgment when you're a woman in this industry, and you always have to work harder.
Because I just see music just seems balanced.
No,
you
it's
know
not.
why I say that?
But you probably see that on the artist perspective.
Because there's all age groups, all races within reason, and there's more races. Every country has their singer, whether it's a really popular person.
Yeah, but you only see the tip of the iceberg, seeing the artist on stage or like a lineup for a festival. But all the people
behind it,
working behind the scene to make the show happen, to make the festival happen. There's loads of women working, but the higher up role with like power and everything,
so they're used
it's still very male dominated.
So they're used to the women being hair and makeup and things like that then?
No. I mean, like, for instance, in my job, there's loads of women who are in charge of like managing the events and being part of the production team and everything. But most of them have like a male manager that's like overseeing everything. Or like most of promoters in this country are male, loads of them. So it's still a thing, and you still have to...
Why do you think that is?
Because in history, it's always been like that. We live in patriarchy. Like, it's not just a music industry, it's everywhere. And that's why there are so many movements now, you know, people that just tries to be like, we need to be a lot more inclusive, or like minorities, and, you know, just be like, we shouldn't care about, you know, if you're a male, female, whatever you define yourself, like it shouldn't be something, or like your skin color, the way you look, if you're thin, tall, short, fat. But it's still a thing in our society. It's not just the music industry, it's everywhere. And the medias are not helping, because they will never speak about a male politician the same way that they speak about a female politician, for instance. Or like how females are like described in the media constantly, or like, for instance, there's that famous singer / actress that just passed away in France the other day. She was actually English, but she was very famous in France. And
that's
all the photos... No, like that's a French, like, I mean, she's British, but she spent most of her life in France, I think. She was called Jane Birkin. And when she was young, she was with that male French singer. And when she died, all the photos of her in the medias were like her when she was like 20, 25. And everyone reminded that she used to be the girlfriend of that man. Well, they've been together for 8 years, and they've split up probably about like 50 years ago. And it's still a thing. It's the same with Sinead. Most of images of her were her when she released Nothing Compares to You. Like, if you look in the media, like when they announced her death, most of the images were her young and not her now.
When she was young, was that at her peak?
Yeah, because then media's destroyed her and her career.
Would you say it's the media, or because there's a singer who refused to do interviews? It's just like some actors.
No. She was actually like, she mentioned it when she did that protest song, and then she burned or like torn that images of the Pope. She kind of knew that it was going to be tough for her after that. And that's what happened. Like, other singers started to like ignore her.
So she had a backlash based on what she did.
Yeah.
So she,
just because she decided to mention that there was a problem with the church and it needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
And from that day, she was like half gone. Like, it's just a reality of it. She didn't decide to not be in the media anymore, whatever. She was just not there because whoever you know is running the media decided that she was not going to be around anymore.
Okay. So how do you handle these situations where you feel that you're not valued?
Yeah, I'm kind of a pain for that kind of thing, because I'm not the most confident person, but sometimes when it's work related, I know it really depends. I'm very sensitive, so sometimes I just take it very personally, and then I'm like, it shouldn't be like that, and I'm just really angry. And then sometimes I can also be like, deep inside of me, like, I mean, I'm gonna swear now, Don't know if I can. But I'm like, fuck it. Like, this person is not much better than me just because he's been in the industry for longer. Like, I'm working hard to be where I am. And everyone around me in the company that I'm working for is working hard. And we shouldn't have to constantly work harder to prove that we know what we're doing. Because I think that's how a lot of female are actually like feeling. It's like we need to constantly do everything like twice harder for people to take us seriously. And this shouldn't be like that. Simply like most of Uber drivers, you know, whenever I get on an Uber, most of the time it's a male. And there's still that like joke around that female can't drive.
Then would you say that on the same note, there's women-dominated industries, whether it's in the fashion or...
It's actually not. It's actually not.
Go on.
Most of the biggest like fashion brands are male.
When you say male, male-owned or male
But it was
staff?
It was started by a male fashion designer.
Yeah. So I was referring to the actual work, the staff numbers. So
yeah, but that's the thing. It's just like workers can still be female. It's still not owned or run by female, and that's where the problem is.
Surely a woman will just start her own company and move on and other women will support it. Is it like Sweaty Betty? Is that a women's company? Lululemon, is that a women's company?
Lululemon is famous to be a cult.
I don't know anything about that.
It's actually quite a thing where they don't do bigger sizes because they don't want big people to wear their clothes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, then I suppose if that's the image they want, that's the image they want. But
yeah, but it's just, you can't do that.
Why
like
can't
you don't. It was the same with, what was that brand? Abercrombie and Fitch or something like that. Same. That man was just like, I'm not going to go over a size large because I don't want ugly fat people to wear my clothes.
Right.
And that guy looks like an alien. And I'm like, who are you?
Versace said, I think it's Versace, he said if he knew black people would wear his clothes, he wouldn't have made it. Now,
but you see, that's what I mean. It's just like, how fucked up is that?
No, but I don't see it as that. And the reason why I don't see it is that because he's spoken his mind and he's just told me to buy another person's brand who appreciate my money. I have no problem with that. I'm not going to get upset about that.
I just think we shouldn't judge people.
I could create my own brand.
Of course.
Do you see what I mean?
Doesn't mean you're going to make money.
Okay, but then I could, but and there's a possibility that I may, you know.
Yeah.
And if I can appeal to the audience that he ostracized and people who are just like the product.
But the problem with like people speaking their minds like that, they don't understand that they can have an impact on younger generation started to think that way. And that's my problem sometimes with people who are actually out there famous for whatever they're doing, and it's just like there's just stuff that it's just not okay. Like, you can speak your mind about, I don't know, like stuff that are less important, but saying that you don't want black people to wear your clothes, it's giving the information that they're not worth your work. And that's allowing people one day to say the same thing. Yeah. And it might not be about fashion, it might be about something else, about like, I'm not going to hire this person in my company because I don't want black people in my company. This is against the law. Yeah,
there's laws about that though.
Yeah.
There's not laws about saying because in essence, he thinks his company's so great that he can saboteur his own company in it or say something like that and it won't affect him. And
yeah, but I think it should be it should still be something that's not allowed. And I mean, I don't really know how it is here, but like...
That would be a violation of freedom of speech though, wouldn't it?
No, but freedom of speech is just a concept that doesn't exist.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like you can't... What is the sentence? Freedom starts where...
I know
where someone else...
Ice-T says freedom of speech, but just be careful what you say.
Yeah, but the thing is just like, it's like... freedom of speech is like... like, no one will stop me from saying something to my friends, for instance. But I'm like, when you can potentially have an impact on people who don't have the capacity of thinking by themselves, or who are young and easily influenced, or like something like that, you have to be careful of what you say.
London's diverse. We've got over 300 different languages.
That's why London is so wonderful.
Many of the leading artists are black in music, and they set fashion trends from street trends, which argumentatively goes into mainstream later on. Mm-hmm. So if someone says, let's say like that Versace, for argument's sake, said what he said, I don't see how that's going to affect young people in London in the sense of thinking, oh, well, that's okay, because the posters on the wall, the people they idolise are of colour. The food they eat are of other cultures. And but
do you think people think that far?
Well, it becomes a reality. And also your friends, your company, the people at work, the people that you may think, he's okay. Like, I've known people who said, my boss was really racist, like they got employed in the 80s. And there was a term, when he walked into the interview, the boss said, what was it? I gotta go, there's a nig-nog on the wood fireplace or something. There's a racist term thing.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that they supported the same football team, so they said, you know what, I think you're gonna be alright. Yeah. So, and he got the job and they went on well in that respect. And his prejudice, his racism broke down. But if he had been restricted from speaking his mind or sharing his racist mentality, he would have never changed over time, because you would have never seen it. Because you need to be able to see things to debate people with.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, like, in my opinion, racism is coming from deep ignorance.
Yes, and that's how you educate people, when you know.
Yeah, but the thing is just like, deep ignorance is not just coming from lack of information, is often like lack of education. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy to, even if you like speak to someone and wants to educate them, it doesn't mean they have the capacity to learn from it. They might just hear it and forget straight away. So I think that's the problem. It's just like, it's much longer and much deeper to educate people than just like throwing racist stuff at people.
People get educated day in, day out on everyday life.
Oh, but I mean, you learn until the day you die. You know, that's
whether people pay attention to things.
But that's the thing, is like, are they keen to be educated? Are they keen to understand and listen? That's the problem nowadays, I think. It's just like loads of people, they just follow whatever they see and hear online and don't try to question things or just make research. People don't make research nowadays. Did you see the whole new Gen Z tattoo trend?
No.
It's a Z with a line in the middle, which has been famous for years for being a Nazi sign.
No, the SS is a...
Yeah, exactly.
SS. But the Z with a line in the middle, so the SS with the flash, the lightning flash, that's the SS division, the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But the Z with a lightning flash, that's not a Nazi, is it?
But it was used. It's like the Z with the thingy in the middle.
Was it a Z?
But that's the thing. It's just like, people are like, oh, but they're not the only one using a sign which is a Z with a line in the middle. And I'm like, yeah, but the swastika originally is not a Nazi sign. It used to be the other way around, and it used to be a Buddhist thing.
Yeah, the rainbow
for peace.
Used to be a friendly thing, and now
exactly.
Now it's dealt with the...
But if tomorrow I actually make the original sign, people will automatically see a swastika. They will not think twice of being like, oh, potentially, if they're the other way around, that's a peace sign, because it's too, like, the connotation behind it, the meaning behind it is just too strong. And people don't research, being like, oh, everyone makes that tattoos, and I'm part of Gen Z, so I'll make that tattoo. And I'm like, why do you need to do what everybody else is doing? Just be yourself.
But they're young though, aren't they?
But I've been young as well, and I've never made a tattoo because everybody else was making that tattoo.
Yeah, but it's also a different era and different, I don't know your age, but...
I'm 35.
Okay, so you're millennial.
Yeah, I mean, whatever that means.
Okay.
I don't really...
Going into the music, back to your music career, because we've just gone straight off the topic here. I can see where you're coming from, and, you know, I understand why you're on a protective thing. But you've gone into this music, you've started your own company, you're doing your own things, which is great. And what have you learned from that whole industry that you wish you knew when you started?
How fake people are. People are two-faced.
Is that music industry in general, or is that people in general?
I think this industry is a lot like that. But I think there's a lot of people like that on a daily basis that you would meet. Like, how many times you met someone and you had, like, the greatest evening, had the best laugh, and, like, you know, had the best time, and then try to meet that person again, and they just never have the time to meet you again. That happens a lot.
Okay.
And it's just a thing, you know. It's like...
Would you say that's because you're coming from a small place?
But Brussels is not small.
Well, it is compared to London. So London...
Yeah, but everywhere is small compared to London.
Yeah, so that's my point. So when you're in a big city...
It
when
is.
you're in a big city,
yeah,
people have less time for people. So they may have enjoyed that one moment, and they just say, okay, well, there's going to be other moments, other people.
No, I get it. But that's also why loads of people nowadays feel very lonely in big cities while they're surrounded by millions of people.
I have a theory behind this. Do you think it's the actual native-born Londoners who feel lonely, or the people who come to London who are having to adjust? Because I hear that statement loud and clear, but it's mainly from people who...
But yeah, I mean, probably. It's probably a part of it. But also I'm like, then what's the difference between me coming from Belgium that you would meet in a pub and someone who's from London and grew up here? We could still create the same friendship.
I'm not disputing that, but also there's maybe a slightly different mindset where it's just like if you're in New York or LA, where it's like it's dog eat dog, rats in a bucket attitude. It's like, yeah, we're getting on now, but don't get in the way of getting mine.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why it's like that, to be honest. It's just...
More people, less friendlier.
Yeah, and I feel that sometimes... I mean, to be fair, I'm really happy with where I live, because Tottenham is very much of a community. But I feel sometimes when you live in big city, people don't speak to each other. Like, you don't know your neighbours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame. Like, you should be able to, like, walk down the street and know the people around you and say hi to them in the morning, because you're on the same tube every morning and you still don't know each other.
It's too many people. I've had this conversation with so many people. In a big city, metropolis, it's just too many people.
But there's too many people. But if, like, let's see on my road, it's just a simple road like any other road on the planet.
Yep.
There's not like 200,000 people on my street.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it too difficult for us to at least know those people?
Because it's rush about money. I've got to get to work, I've got to get mine. Why are you stopping me? If you're not giving me money, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Do you see that mindset? Where in the countryside or smaller places, you've got a lot more time, take it easier, family, spend time with family, doing all these different things.
That's just proving that we didn't learn anything from the lockdown.
Okay.
We could have used that time to be together.
Well, I think...
And we didn't.
To be honest, I think some people are just comfortable in what they know. And those will be... Like, for instance, I'm a prime product of that. If you hear where our conversation's going, I'm just justifying London's bad attitude. Really.
Okay.
If you see what I mean. But I'm saying, well, this is how it is. And you'll say, well, it needs to change. I say, yeah, but you come from a small place.
Yeah,
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but honestly, have you ever been to Brussels?
Yes. And I did think it was small.
I mean, Brussels as a city, like as just like the size of it is smaller than London, but the density is crazy. The density in Belgium in general is like 10 times more dense than France.
Well, the most densely populated place in Europe is in East London, Isle of Dogs, Canning Town, where when they finish developing that area, it's going to be more densely populated than Shanghai.
Is it not? Because I've heard one day that, what is it, Monaco?
I don't know about Monaco.
But because most of people have an address there, so they're registered as living there.
Yeah, but they're not actually there.
No, but like on paper, this is actually the highest density in Europe or something like that. Because of that.
Are they business? Yeah, I suppose if you're talking about businesses, that's something else.
Yeah, no, of course, that's not like proper density of people on the street.
You could have a letterbox and you could have 1,000 or be like Nike, have 20,000 people behind that letterbox.
But I think that's what it is, and I think that's why, like on paper, this is supposed to be like one of the highest density of population, which is interesting.
Well, Fanny, we've come into the end of the journey.
Yeah, interesting.
It's been an interesting conversation.
Very interesting.
There's so much more to talk about, but obviously we won't get that in hand.
No, but we would have to do that all day.
But I wish you well.
You too.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.